Hey everybody, Carl's here with my thoughts on Diablo 4. I've actually been very pleasantly surprised. I wasn't very happy with the way the release was handled and didn't really have any excitement going into this game, which I explained in the video here. But it's been pretty great so far. With the masses getting access, there were still some new discoveries, which was the complaint in my last video. Don't get me wrong, the release could have been done so much better, but it's been pretty great so far. The rogue, for example, seems to be performing way better than expected. Their damage is absolutely nuts, and their true endgame survivability drop-off, which was their primary concern, might not be quite as bad as expected, which is amazing. I'm not a rogue, but it's still amazing. Some of the builds that weren't in the limelight during the pre-release now finally get to show their true potential as the full player base gets access to test everything themselves. A perfect example of this is the build I'm playing right now. I made it completely myself. Previously, I was playing Pulverize, but frankly, I hated it. Its playstyle wasn't for me, and the boss fights were dreadful. So I spent a bunch of time the instant I entered World Tier 4, and I theory crafted a new build and started running that. And I mean, right when I entered World Tier 4. The build I used to defeat Elias for the World Tier 4 capstone dungeon was Pulverize, but my first dungeon in World Tier 4 was with Lightning Storm, and I like it so much more. I'm rocking a yellow weapon, horrifyingly bad gear, some of which still has pulverized aspects on them, and I'm underleveled, albeit only minorly, 67, killing level 73 World Tier 4 bosses in 5 to 10 seconds. Now we'll see how it handles in true endgame when I get there, but I have some skill changes in mind and some stat changes for when I get that far that should significantly help keep me slaughtering and not being slaughtered, hopefully anyways. So we'll see how everything turns out. And I know some of you are thinking, shut up and stop talking about your build and show it. And I wish I could, but unfortunately my computer isn't powerful enough to play D4 and record it at the same time. That being said, if you're interested in a build video, as Lightning Storm doesn't seem to have any content out there for it that I can find pretty much at all, leave a like and comment below and I can show you all exactly what I theory crafted for my optimized build and how I'm getting the results that I claim. Unfortunately, I just won't be able to follow it up with any game footage. Anyhow, I'm actually super excited for the endgame now, and you would never guess what did it. Nerfs. More specifically, the nerfs to all the Paragon boards. Now, I'm not going to pretend I know exactly how this affects every class, but what I do know is how it drastically changes the entire game. A sweeping nerf to everyone on this scale effectively upped the difficulty. From the end of World Tier 3 and on, the Paragon board is an enormous source of your power and survivability. Can you imagine how much stronger you'd be with 34 to 66% more power from these boards? And that's correct. I love this change. I want the content to be hard. I don't believe everyone should be able to complete the hardest content. I like when it means something because you can complete that difficult thing a lot of other people can't. Uber Lilith, for example. When I read the little pop-up saying to challenge Uber Lilith at level 100 or whatever it said, I was so disappointed, thinking I'll probably just get geared enough to two-shot her or something, who cares? Well, after that nerf, apparently she's hard as shit, and that's awesome. I now have something to strive towards, something to work to. Finally, I'm not just farming to farm faster. And what's crazy, let me reiterate, while I love this change, I don't think this was in Blizzard's best interest at all. People are coming from D3, where you logged on and were given a full set of gear, get a single legendary, and it increases your damage 10,000%, and you can already clear the hardest adventure mode difficulty. Rifts were there for people that wanted to push themselves, but there's a very large gaming group that likely never did a rift above level 20, or perhaps didn't do a greater rift of level 20. Hell, there's people out there that didn't get to adventure mode because the story was too hard. I know some of them. And before you ask, no, they're not like 70, they're like 24 and gamers. I have the same questions you do, but they exist. And then they released D4 in a way that advertised the easy completion of the game's hardest content. People expect to get to Torment difficulty and reach level 100, but I don't think a lot of people will, or rather, I think a lot of people won't. This game has hurdles at those capstone dungeons, and if you don't understand how the stats work, how to build your character, how to use your abilities properly, how to use the occultist efficiently, you're not going to succeed, and a lot of people won't be okay with that. I actually think this was the best thing they could have done for the game, but I don't think many people are going to agree with that. I think this added huge longevity and something to really strive for in playing it. Leave a comment down below though on what you think they should have done, and your opinion on what they did do. That's all though. I thought it only fair if I criticized the game 6 hours before it comes out, that I also put a video out on my thoughts, especially considering I've actually enjoyed the game. I still have my gripes with the way everything was handled on release, it's no question of that, but in the end, at least for myself, it turned out pretty good. I've enjoyed my time thus far, and I will be playing it to the very end and hopefully enjoying a struggling fight against some pretty hard content. Thanks so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks again. GG's.